Hey there, Ken French of Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're very, very happy you stopped by. Either you're going to watch this or listen to this because you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably an entrepreneur who's either just starting out or you've been around for quite a while and you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably a real estate investor, maybe even a real estate agent, maybe a professional or of some sort, professional advisor of some sort. And well, you are stopping by because you need some valuable advice from one of the top industry leaders there is. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Ken French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really glad you stopped by.
Wholesaling in real estate. That's what we're talking about. Nathan Payne's going to add some value, make you guys, all the people out there, are rich. How's it going, Nathan?
Oh man, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on. I'm feeling good.
I'm going to just jump to it. By the way, my name is Ken French, vastsolutionsgroup.com, where you're here listening, watching Vast Voices, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Nathan, give us one thing that's going to add some value to all those people out there, all those entrepreneurs, all those real estate investors, et cetera, out there, that's going to add value based on what you do. Go.
I would say that by just listening to this podcast, you guys are going to know by the end of the podcast what wholesaling is and how to do it. So you can go out and if you have that kind of opportunity, which we're going to be talking about, you're going to be able to monetize it and do a deal.
I like that. So you're saying by the end of this, whatever, 20, 30 minutes or whatever, our people out there are going to be able to do a deal?
I think so. If I can explain exactly how to do it, there should be no reason why. Look, the concept of wholesaling is extremely simple, right? It's the action part that most people don't take that struggle with, right? Because it's not like
anything they sit on their hands.
Yeah. Because like a motivated seller that's who you're pretty much looking for, someone that you can add value to, where you can serve them and help them, and in return they're willing to sell their property to you at a discount or give up equity. So that doesn't just, people like that don't just fall out of the sky, right? You have to find them, you have to identify those situations. But if you can, it's pretty simple to monetize it, and I can explain how.
Yeah, cool. So let's assume I'm brand new, because we don't have that many wholesalers in here. We have a lot of people, a lot of people are real estate investors, et cetera, here. But so define wholesaling. Let's use that as a springboard to everything else.
Okay, so wholesaling, all wholesaling is, it's selling your interest in a property for a fee, right? And you're assigning, so you're basically getting a contract with a seller. Let's say the seller's house is worth $500,000, right? So the house is worth $500,000. You offer her, the seller, $400,000, and you know someone will pay $415,000 for it. Without even buying the property, you can assign your interest in the property. You can assign your contract. It's called an assignment contract. It's just you assign your contract to someone else for a fee of $15,000, and then they take that. They are now the owner of that contract. When they close, you get the difference, and you get paid. And by the way, these are cash sales, where they get a hard money loan to purchase the property. The end buyer that you're assigning to has cash in their bank account, or they get a private money or hard money. With financing, you have to do a little bit more movement. If you get like a traditional loan from like a bank, there's other stuff you would have to do, but this is cash sales. So does that make sense? That's all wholesaling is assigning your rights to a property for a fee to someone else.
Yeah, totally. I think that makes perfect sense, because I think there should be people out there who really need to more about wholesaling, because I think most of our people are buy and sell, like I am. I'm a buy and sell guy, commercial side too, and
right.
Or we might have some flippers out there, but wholesaling contract, I think sometimes it makes sense, because there's some deals out there that people are passing up that there's limited risk. I think if you do wholesaling, if you really think about it.
Agreed. Yeah, and a lot of the people might be hearing, well, wholesaling, it's getting outlawed. You're not allowed. The assignment is getting frowned upon. You can't assign it. Well, it's pretty simple at that point. You would just double close. You would just take down the property, own it, using transactional funding, which is usually like 1% of the purchase price or 2%, depends where you get the funds. And then same thing, right? You have the buyer lined up, and you just sell to them that same day, right? But yeah, I would say everyone that's in real estate needs to know this strategy, because you're going to come across opportunities that you are good deals, but you just don't have the ability to take them down. So why would you let that, pass up on that opportunity when you can just give it to someone else for a fee?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it totally makes sense. So wait a minute. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because I think it's always interesting hearing about the stories that are out there for people who are really big time successful like you.
Yeah. So
Hopefully that's the case, by the way.
well, I would like to believe that I'm, always progressing and growing. There's always someone better, right? But um, I've been in the industry for about 7 years. Before I got into real estate, I was doing door-to-door sales for Dish Network right out of college. Yeah, I did door to door, knocked on people's houses, like trying to sell them, better cable packages, better satellite TV packages. I did that for 6 years and did well. You build up teams, you can make good residual. So I enjoyed it, but I couldn't see myself knocking doors for the rest of my life. So I said, and plus I got married, and in the door to door industry, you're having to travel to different areas every summer to go knock and sell. And so it was a very transient lifestyle, and I didn't like that. And since I got married, I said, okay, I got to do something that, where I can make good money, use my ability to like talk to people. And, so I got into real estate. One of my college friends his dad was a wholesaler in Missouri, and he was my friend in college was always trying to get me to do lease options, wholesaling, like do all those things with him in college. That's the work he was trying to do. And I was trying to recruit him to work for me at Dish. So we were both trying to recruit each other. And I called him after we both graduated, when I decided I wanted to get out of door to door. And I was like, well, what are you doing right now? And he had gotten into tech sales. And this time we were living in Utah, both of us. And I said, hey, let's do this real estate thing. I don't know anything about it, but your dad does it. And you said you liked it in college. I think this is where I want to go, is into real estate. So not knowing anything, he quit his job. I stopped doing door to door, and we just went all in on real estate. That's how it started.
Holy mackerel, nice work. Obviously it's worked out for you. So tell us a little bit about your community, and then let's get into kind of the nuts and bolts of what we're going to be talking about, wholesaling, etc.
Yeah. So you said community, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So I was about 4 years in. So I've been doing this for about 7 years. So about 4 years in, I wanted to do more deals, and I didn't, we were doing marketing spend in order to get leads, but I was like, what's a way I can get more deals without having to spend money? And I realized that joint venturing, they call it JVing, is a good way to get make money. So that's if someone has a property, right? They know a motivated seller, they just don't know who to sell it to. I can bring the buyer, because that's a strategy that I'm very good at. So I started a community where I provided free value, just like, hey guys, this is what you need to do, answered questions. And I built up, just content, built up a community where I was able to get deals out of it. But it turned out more into like, okay, a lot of these people need more than just me to sell their deals. They need, hand holding, right? They need help. So it turned into like more of a coaching opportunity. And I've been coaching pretty much ever since.
I gotcha. And what is the name of your like your Facebook?
Yeah. So the Facebook group is called Painless Flipping. Painless Flipping because my last name is Payne, and I call what I do painless flipping. But it's PAYNE, right? So Painless Flipping is play on words. And it's because the strategy I use is a lot different than the traditional wholesale model of, tell a seller you can pay their like something a certain amount for their house that's really low, and they usually don't like that. And then that's what a lot of wholesalers do, is they just offer really low, and they cross their fingers and hope they get the deal. My strategy is completely different than that. I'm more of a consultant. I'm more of like, hey, are you sure you want to sell this thing for cash? There's a lot better options. And I try to disqualify them before, like, really getting into the nuts and bolts, I would say, of the offer, right? And a lot of people just make offers and they just cross fingers and hope. So my strategy, it's just a different process and way of going about this, talking to sellers.
I mean, how do you sell those sell? How do you find those sellers? Because that's really what makes, I think, the difference between a good wholesaler and not a good wholesaler is finding those good deals,
right?
Help, make profit. Hopefully, helping the seller, and then also making profit. How are you finding those?
Yeah, so there's so many different ways. There's 3 ways that we teach people to find deals. I would say deals. You have direct to agent, direct to seller, and direct to wholesaler. So with direct to agent, you have real estate agents who have listed properties, and potentially they have sellers that are motivated. They just listed it, but they're like, oh, I need to sell quick. So you're building relationships with real estate agents, and you're saying, hey, I can purchase this house within 7 days. You don't have to wait. And even though it's listed, they would still take your offer, and you would do deals there. And you can still wholesale deals that are listed, right? You would just find a buyer that would take it for more than what you have it under contract for. So that's direct to agent. Direct to seller is millions of different ways to find them, right? You have pre-foreclosures. Those are people that are about to get foreclosed on, divorce, tax lien, probates, you name it. If someone is potentially in a spot where they would want to get out or sell for ease, convenience, and speed, those are the people we target, and we try to solve their problems. So if someone has a problem, like code violation lists, you would say that person's problem is they're not taking care of the yard. Maybe they can't afford it, right? They can't afford upkeep. You would reach out and you would, give them a specific marketing message saying, hey, I noticed that like your home is, you've got some tall grass. I understand that, maybe it might be tough to upkeep it. Are you considering selling or something like that? Right. So it just depends what list you're targeting, but that's how you do direct to seller. And direct to wholesaler is, hey, I see that you have a couple properties that you need to find buyers for. I have a couple buyers that might be interested in those properties. You mind if I let them take a look at what you got? And then if we do, let's split the wholesale fee.
Oh, I got it. So part of what you're doing is marketing specifically. I mean, marketing to get deals.
Completely. This business is completely marketing and sales. I would say even more marketing, because without the opportunities, without generating leads, like you don't really have much.
Yeah, I know. You have to get in leads, otherwise it's not. Yeah, I get you. And I must, because I know you do individual coaching too, and so that's part of your deal is teaching marketing as well.
Yeah, so teaching the marketing, and when you get started, we don't advise that people just start like paying for leads, right? Because they're not ready yet to spend all that money, and they haven't developed the skill sets yet to monetize and like convert the leads. So we tell people, we teach them specific strategies for them to go out and prospect to generate the leads. And then when they work with us in our program, we actually are there, like it's like an apprenticeship model where we will actually look at their opportunities with them and tell them why it's a deal or why it's not a deal. Because that's like one of the hardest things for new people, is that they don't really, everything sounds good, right? You talk to a seller and they say, that it's lower than Zillow, they get excited, right? But there's a lot more that goes into it. So it's just really working hands-on and helping. Like I just got a lead submission from one of our clients, and he's got a property in Irvinus, Florida. Never heard of it, but I'm able to go and look at the data and see comps and what it sold for and where we need to be at.
You mean Inverness, Florida, right?
I've never heard of it. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my bad. I've never heard of the place. But anyway, so it's really fun because working hands-on with people, I'm able to kind of see like where the hang up is for a lot of people. And a lot of the time it's just not understanding how to structure deals so it makes sense for an investor.
Got it. So okay, I hear you. So obviously you've dealt with a lot of investors, et cetera. So as it relates to wholesaling or fix and flips, any of the stuff in your world, what's another way that you think that someone could make money based on, them being a real estate investor as an example?
Well,
that's a hard one.
There's so many different ways. Like, so for example, if I get an opportunity, I always try to analyze what is the best like outcome that I want in this deal. And it's usually what's going to make me the most money. So I'll run it through a scenario where I'll say, okay, if I wholesale this thing, I'll get the money quicker. But it's a $10,000 wholesale fee. If I take this one down and wholesale it, where I just take it, buy it, and then throw lipstick on it, I'll make 20. But it's instead of taking me 2 weeks to get paid, it's going to take me 3 months.
Yeah.
Is that worth? Is the cash flow? Do I have enough cash flow? Like, do I need to keep generating more money to keep the machine going, or can I keep it? Can I keep it? Just buy it and then redo a burr. So really there's so many different ways when you're looking at opportunities all the time. You have to analyze which one is going to make the most sense for you and the seller. Because sometimes you might want to be like, well, I'll just buy this, but I need a month. But they're like, no, I need to close in like 2 days. So you really have to change your strategy depending on their needs as well.
Yeah, you gotta coexist with the seller in some cases, and sometimes the seller ends up being better off than otherwise it would have been. I totally get your situation, and hopefully, at the end of the day, you're also making money.
Yeah. Like for me, it's always like it's got to be a win-win, right? Because no one is going to sell you their house at a discount unless like they need to, or there's a problem you can solve, right? Like I can't just call you, like cold call you while you're sitting in your house and say, hey, I'd like to buy your house, and then we negotiate a deal. That's just not how it works. You have to have a reason for you to want to sell to an investor. that we
Yeah.
can solve.
And you do individual coaching. So tell me a little bit about that. I think that's pretty cool. So what does that look like?
So most coaching that I've had and most coaching that's out there just gives it a ton of information. Like you buy in, you get a community, and you can talk to other people, but they give you like a bunch of training videos.
Yep.
And that's when I started coaching, that's what I did too. I was like, oh, well, this is what I've seen. But I've noticed that people feel way too overwhelmed when they get all that information. They still don't know what to do. They're like, hey, that's great that I have all these videos, but first of all, I had all this before on YouTube. Now I'm overwhelmed. So what I've done is I've taken the process of from start to finish, and I've broken it down into like little steps. And after every step, there's a checkpoint call with me where you book a call after you've gone through the specific training or the guide, and I make sure you understood it, and we review what you learned. So I make sure you don't just keep going and you've just learned something the wrong way. Like what coaching really is. Coaching, like a wrestling coach doesn't show you a video on how to do a double leg or a takedown and then you're good. He shows you, right? He watches you do it, and if you do it wrong, he tells you why you did it wrong. Yeah. So it's a lot more involvement if you're going to like coach really good. And I think a lot of people don't have the time. Well, I wouldn't say the coaches don't have the time. It's just more difficult to coach that many people well. So I just don't think the coaching industry is that like set up that well to help people succeed, to be honest. But that's what I'm trying to do is I can take on less people, but at least I'm able to be really involved.
Which it sounds like you are taking less people. So, which is pretty cool. And you work with people all over the United States from the sounds of it. I think it sounds like now you're in Canada, but what about this? So let's just say someone, you work with new people all the way to not old people, experienced people, anywhere in between?
Yeah, so I've had people that I've worked with that like are really experienced flippers that just want to integrate like the marketing strategies into their business, right? So they're experienced with doing in real estate, but not with generating their own leads, right? And negotiating with sellers. So it's mainly newer investors that want to learn how to get into the process, but it can be experienced people outside of wholesaling. But I would say they're newer to the wholesaling and like generating leads and marketing aspect of the business.
Well, I got it. But I'm assuming you like generally speaking, you like working with some of the more experienced people, I would think.
Yeah, you get a lot of the same questions over and over from the new people. So it is nice to work with experienced investors because they get it quicker. But it is what it is, right? It's the life it's the life I've chosen.
Yeah, it's a good life, obviously. So, all right, what's something we have not talked about that can help someone as far as wholesaling, or anything related to real estate for our likely listeners or viewers?
You know what? I feel like this is just across most industries, but extreme focus. Because I talk to people all the time that come in that want to like learn what I'm doing, and they're telling me like, oh, I have opportunities from Alabama and Texas and Georgia, and I'm getting a 50-plex or like a 10-plex or whatever, like an apartment complex, and I'm getting a single family, and they're just all over the place, right? And they're just excited by how many opportunities are there, but they're not going anywhere. And it's because they're just not focused on like mastering one specific strategy or one type of property, right? Type. So I would just say, like, if you want to succeed in anything, wholesaling or anything in general, it's like extreme focus is the key in order to really advance forward. And if you're dabbling in everything, you're not going to really go anywhere. So that would be my my suggestion for everyone.
I do agree with you. I mean, you got to stay within your lane, and the extreme focus works. And I think if there's a professional out here, let's say you, Nathan, who knows his stuff, hey, wait a minute, I want to learn about wholesaling. I want to get coaching. When they're staying in their lane, but you are here kind of on the side helping them, they're staying in their lane, plus they're making money because you're coaching. That makes perfect sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So wait a minute, how does someone get a hold of you? Again, more specific, how does someone get a hold of you if they're interested in your coaching, individual training, et cetera, et cetera?
What I've created in that Facebook group where I told you I originally created so I could do deals with people, it's basically where I send everybody. It's Painless Flipping free Facebook group. And that's, if you go there, as soon as you get in there, there's a free course on how to leverage buyers the painless way. I call it Painless Flipping. I help. I help people find the buyers that would buy those deals. Like that's what the free training shows is like, okay, how could I monetize? How can I sell this to an investor? Where are they? So check it out. Painless Flipping, free Facebook group. And from there, I'm in there. I comment all the time. I'm posting stuff. So if you wanted to talk to me, I'm in there. So let's chat.
All right, guys, Nathan Payne. So any other last moments, the last little thoughts that would make sense? Say goodbye.
Let's see. I would say anybody that's in this, if you're running across opportunities that you feel like you could monetize, but you don't know how to, then you just need to leverage someone like me that can either teach you or show you how to do, or do it for you. Right. And then we just partner. So, and there's a lot of people that would be willing to do that. So don't feel like you have to like be a master wholesaler and build like some crazy business. You just having the strategy alone that you can leverage it, I would say that would double, triple your income if you're running across a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, that does make sense. That's in line with what you're saying, that at the end of this, they would know how to wholesale because they know how to get a hold of you, and you can help them walk down that path of the wholesaling. They can make hopefully a lot of money.
That's it. You don't even need to know the whole thing. I got your back.
There you go. All right, man. I really appreciate you being here, Nathan. Once again, this is Kenner French of VastSolutionsGroup.com. We're here in the Vast Vault telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Once again, thanks, everybody.